Hey, welcome to the webinar. Now that you can hear me. Welcome to the webinar, the Get Fit Fast and Make It Last webinar. We have quite a few people logged on and more people logging on as we're getting started. So I'll say hello and make some introductions as people are logging on. We actually had 100 people register for this webinar today, which is absolutely amazing. I know the last webinar that I did, I was joking saying we had 100 people on, and I think it was more like around 30, but I was joking, and here we are today. So we're growing, people are sharing, and we've got more people logging on. Great. Okay. And all right, so welcome to the webinar. Obviously today we are going to be talking about Carly's 100-pound weight loss and everything that entails. I'm going to be sharing the inside story on what she did, how she did it, and really get into the fiber of how this happens. How do you make massive progress? How do you go from being stuck and making slow or no progress to actually getting that scale moving and getting the results that you'd like? So I want to open up and talk a little bit about my own personal story, how I became Simple Fat Burn, how I got into the business of personal training. And my story really starts back when I was a little girl. I think my first words were with my grandmother, Grandma Sugar. So as a little kid, I always had this love for sweets and sweet things. And I can remember my grandmother feeding me sugar from the sugar bowl when I was a little girl. And she's just laughing and adoring me with love. And that's where it started. So as a teenager, I love sweets, and I would come home from school and I would get ready to watch my favorite soap opera, General Hospital. So obviously I'm dating myself. And I would always eat cookies, pies, cakes. My mom always had the house stocked with all our favorite goodies. And I realized I was eating a lot of this stuff. So fast forward to college, and I was actually putting on a good amount of weight. I can remember at the age of 20 going to the nurse and saying, I have a major problem. I can't stop eating sweets. And the nurse looked at me and she said, I really want to help you. You need to change your habits. And she looked at me and she cared so much, but she didn't have the tools to help me. So I think that's really where my own journey became, my mission to figure out how to balance it out, how to learn to stop over-calorizing on sweets and sugar for myself personally. And I guess I didn't know that my lifelong mission would be to help other people get fit and help them get lean. Fast forward again, in college, I became a social worker. So my background is I have a master's degree in social work. I am trained as a therapist, case manager, and I really counseled people to get healthy. One of my earliest cases was a man who was over 400 pounds, and I remember being very nervous about being his counselor. He didn't come to me for weight loss, but I was nervous helping someone who was so overweight. And he actually came to me to work through some issues with a divorce. And I think that was the point that I realized I loved helping people who were struggling with all different types of problems. So my background really led me to become a therapist, a case manager, and that's really what I do today with people struggling with health, fitness, and weight loss. So that's my background. Fast forward again, in my 20s, right after I had my son, I was very overweight and I was stuck. I was stuck with 35 extra pounds that the weight wasn't going anywhere. I hired my first trainer, JD, and JD, wherever you are, you got me on the right path. You taught me all of the basics, and I lost the weight in 90 days. I took off 34 pounds in 90 days. So recently, someone at a networking meeting asked me, have you ever been overweight? The answer is yes. I have been there. I've struggled. Even after I lost the weight, I still struggled many, many times with diet, with exercising consistently, and over the years, I figured it out. I figured it out and have actually gone on to write a book called Simple Fat Burn, 3 Steps to Becoming Fit and Lean, available on Kindle and Amazon. And I've actually helped many people get over the struggle and step into what I call the easy zone, the zone where you know what's going on. You know how to keep the weight off or how to take it off if you gained a few pounds. And I've actually been able to help thousands of people become healthy, fit, and lean permanently. I know some of you have seen the before and after pictures of clients of mine on my website, simplefatburn.com. Many stories, many testimonials. And today we're going to really get into the fiber of what is that really about. So I get really excited to share the why. And the why, I guess, is you don't need to struggle. No one needs to struggle with issues with blood sugar. I teach people how to balance their blood sugar to burn fat. No one has to struggle with being overweight when they learn the systems. There is a process. There are systems that actually work. And the really neat thing about this is this information is for sharing. This isn't like, oh, you've got it and you keep it to yourself. This is, you've got it and you share it, and other people reap the benefits. So I actually want to go into a couple of thank yous for my team that has been helping me with this webinar. My assistant, Kathy Valerio, has been with me, I think, for over a decade. Woohoo! She's always here. I can always count on her. I want to thank James Wright for making the webinar possible. He spent countless hours putting together the slides and working with the process. I want to thank Monica Shaw, because webinars would not be happening without my business coach pushing me out of my comfort zone, telling me, don't move the date again, and really giving me the confidence and tools and skills to move through the technology so that I can reach other people. So, and I want to thank all of you, the clients that are here supporting me. Another neat thing, some former clients are on the webinar today. Quite a few people have logged on from all over the country. We've had people who have lost astronomical amounts of weight and want to know more. They want to know more so they can share the information. Some people have regained a few pounds. That's okay. This is the kind of thing that you can revisit and get right back on the horse and get back into the process. So let's move into some content about Get Fit Fast and Make It Last. Okay. All right. Carly's story actually starts with her dad, Chuck Grenner. This is Chuck's before and after picture. So this story starts a couple of years ago. I had a client named Dan Conroy. Dan lost around 60 pounds with me. And Dan, I'm not sure if you're on here today, but thank you, because Dan and Chuck are both we're both members of a networking group. Dan lost the weight very quickly, and Chuck and he were at a meeting, and one day Chuck leaned into him and said, "What are you doing?" And Chuck was so sweet to pass him my number. So I got a call from Chuck saying, I'd really like to talk with you about losing some weight. I know you've been successful with a friend of mine. And he came into my office and we just sat down and we talked. We started talking about nutrition, and we came up with a game plan for him. Start filling out a food log. And I can remember looking at what he had been doing. And this is something that a lot of clients, they say it's been pretty bad. And I said, well, let's just start where we are and start keeping the food log. So I noticed he had a lot of bread in his diet. Obviously, there was quite a bit of fast food that was going on. You know, Chuck started out, I believe he was over 400 pounds, and he took off 200 pounds in 16 months. Now that is an astronomical amount of weight at an incredibly fast pace. The way that he did it, he started filling out the food log, and we didn't exercise at first, and the weight started coming off. So I want you to understand that even if you're in a place where you can't exercise, maybe you've got some physical limitations, or you don't have the energy yet, or you haven't wrapped your head around actually moving your body and pushing out of your comfort zone because there has been so much weight gain, and maybe there are pain issues. But what I do want you to know that Simple Fat Burn works. It works even before you start exercising. Yes, of course, exercise is a huge piece of the plan, but the first step is actually just starting with the nutritional piece. And that's what Chuck did. So we met once a week, and Chuck took the steps. And I remember he brought in his food log, and I was like, well, where's the bread? And he just said, oh, I just stopped eating bread. So the mere suggestion that we would be taking bread out of his diet it just sort of happened. And he was so positive. I do remember he also said, do you realize the first 5 months that I came to see you, I didn't say much. And, I guess I hadn't really processed that, but he just felt like, wow, I'm out of place. And everyone else is actually doing so much better than I am. So I think it took him a while to just feel kind of like he fit in, like he could actually exercise with the other people in the studio. So Chuck's story, I mean, it's unbelievable that he moves so fast and so quickly. Yesterday, I was getting my hair done by Abby, and some of you know Abby. She's my hairstylist, and she said, did you think this was possible before it happened? That people could lose this much weight this fast. And I really had to think about that, because over the years, we saw a handful of people lose 100 pounds in 12 months. Now we're talking 100 pounds in 8 months. Big difference, really big difference. And I think I knew it was possible. And what really happened with 20 years in the fitness industry, truly studying and researching every diet plan out there, every nutrition plan out there, I really formulated what works and why, and started to focus on what matters. And here's what I would really love for you to understand. There are a lot of things that work, but what works is truly balancing the blood sugar, changing the mindset, and it's behavior modification. It's permanent behavior modification. And there's also this feeling that you're not missing out on anything. Absolutely, you can have a glass of wine. Absolutely, you can celebrate a birthday. But on the whole, we change the parameters. So most nutrition programs have some gaping holes in them. After doing this for 20 years, I can look at a program and say, this is working, this is working, this is holding you up. So that's part of what I'm going to go into as I'm discussing the details as we get into content about what works. Okay, I'm going to share with you a video to get us started on Carly's story, which is really neat. We shot this not too long ago, and so take a look. Hey Carly, it's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
I'm so excited today because we're going to make this video where we're going to talk about your 100-pound weight loss in a mere 8 months and 3 days. I mean, it's been absolutely amazing to work with you. Why don't we start with you telling me where you were when we first talked?
I had 2 ankle surgeries, one that totally reconstructed my ankle, so that's kind of where I started gaining the weight and just gained and gained. And my new career was very physically demanding. It was hard to do my job sometimes. I would leave totally exhausted, my feet hurt. It was all I could do just to get home and go to bed. I was just tired of being tired. It was just time. I feel like something just finally clicked in my mind.
You know, a little bit about the way that we work together. We did it through text message support and a once-a-month phone call. Mm-hmm. And what did that do for you in terms of the change really happening?
Knowing I had someone there that I could text whenever I needed to. I think just knowing I had someone there to hold me accountable, and I kept my food log and sent it to her religiously.
And that is really the ticket. I know a lot of people think that they're exempt from logging, and I think to really get into the subconscious and to make the change and make the changes permanent, I'm just a big fan of that food log. It is the magic ticket.
Yes, it is, for sure.
And I will say, I think on the weeks that you didn't keep your food log, you weren't losing, or at least not as much.
No, and when I wasn't following Catherine's advice to a T, I wasn't losing.
Yeah.
I just wasn't.
Yeah. You really just sailed through an astronomical amount of weight loss. And obviously, you've gone through a couple sets of clothing. I mean, we're petite. So 100 pounds on someone who's 5'2" is a lot different than 100 pounds on someone who's 6'5".
Yeah.
You know, what was that like psychologically for you? Like, to me, replacing your entire wardrobe a couple of times in 8 months, that had to be a lot to go through.
So what I would do is I would just go in, I would get the number that I thought I would be in, and then usually it was a size below is what I needed. That was motivating in itself.
Yeah. Now, sometimes people are so overwhelmed when you know you've got to lose 50 or 80 or 100 pounds that it's just hard to even take the first step. And it's really hard to stay on track. So what would you say to the people that are struggling and in that place?
I just took it one day at a time. It really just stayed focused and used your advice. And when I got frustrated, I had people I could reach out to and say, look, I'm stuck. What can I do? They just said, just follow the process, stick to the plan, and it'll come off.
When you want change, you're gonna go through some emotional cartwheels in order to get what you want out of the process.
Absolutely. And it was hard sometimes when everyone around me is eating pizza and ice cream, and because I started this right before Christmas time, and so
the hardest time of all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I stayed to the plan all through Christmas.
And you just did your first
Triathlon.
Oh my gosh, how is that even possible?
I know, and I told my dad when I crossed the finish line, I said, or he actually said to me, you couldn't have done this a year ago. I was like, there's no way, there's no way. And it was just my morning workout. I mean, it was a little tougher than a regular workout, but I mean, it really wasn't anything that I didn't feel like I can't get through this. I knew I could.
That is amazing. That is amazing. You've made such a huge transformation on all levels. You've actually been able to go on and help some other people with their transformation.
It's been awesome. That in itself is so rewarding. Just having people come to me and say, okay, well, what do you think about this?
Right. And there's so many little questions.
Yeah, and I know what to tell them. I'm confident that it's like, that's where so many people get frustrated. They think they're making good choices and they're not.
My biggest joy is when you come to me and say, oh gosh, my client is down 14 pounds and counting, and then you get those rewarding text messages. I mean, to me, that is really the real meaning of Simple Fat Burn, that anyone can do this.
It's simple. And me and my dad say this all the time. It's not always easy, but it's simple. Like, I know exactly what I have to do to be where I want to be.
Yeah.
And you know, if I start to stray off plan a little bit, I just get right back on.
Yeah.
And it's no big deal. I definitely want to expand my nutrition coaching, take on new clients, and
I think you're going to help a lot of people along the way.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing this, and we're excited to share it with everyone in the world. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for everything.
Great. Thank you. All right. So I love that video with Carly. It really does express, who she is and what she's about. And gosh, it's just such an exciting thing. So I'm going to get into some content about her story and the details. And I'm also going to explain some of the solutions that we came up with for her, because like everyone else, Carly really struggled. And after we go into some solutions, I know this is going to open up a Pandora's box of questions, and I'm going to share with you an offer for an online class that I'll be offering after the webinar. We're going to cover all of the basics here, and I'm going to get into opting into the process and accountability and structure. And past that, I will be offering an online class. I'll tell you all the details about that. Very exciting. And then we will have a Q&A session, which you can go ahead and type your questions in the box. I know some of the audio wasn't so good on that. The video will be available online, and you will get a replay of this. So go ahead and take some notes, and feel free to type your questions in the Q&A box. And then when we get to the end of our content, I'll go through and answer all of your questions. But you can start typing early. So this first photo here that we see is the very first text message that Carly sent me when she started her program. She started working out. We came up with a game plan, and this is a very happy picture. She's at the beach with a friend of hers. She's got a little workout plan going, and it's just a happy time. She said, I'm going to do this. And I couldn't believe how enthusiastic she was. She never complained. She never said, anything other than occasionally she was very frustrated with her progress. But I always want to go back to this point. Frustration is part of the process. Frustration means you care enough to do this. Frustration means it's on your mind. And if you can dream it, you can do it. So I was just thrilled to get these messages. We did her program through text message support. So we were constantly communicating, going back and forth, and talking about, okay, where are you stuck? What's the problem? And I would just parrot back information. I'm looking for what's working, what's not working. There's something about communicating with another human being what you want to happen that truly helps you take the next step. This is an example of Carly's food log. So she started tracking her food just like her dad did, wrote down what she had to eat. And, we went through times where we carb cycled. We did more carbohydrates, less carbohydrates. We really just kept the ball moving. She had a lot of weight to lose and decided she was going to do it really fast. She was going to the gym regularly. She started doing more cardio. And I think at one point she said, "Oh, I get it now. I've got to put in a little bit more time on task." So, the saying that it is simple, but it's not easy is really true. You can't show up and take one college class and get the degree. You've truly got to structure your time and do the work. And I know for a lot of people that say, "Oh gosh, I don't have time." You could take your program as slow or as fast as you decide, but if you have focus, what will happen is over time, you will make the progress. I've had clients make incredible changes and, maybe they lost 1 pound a week, but in 10 weeks, that was 10 pounds. That's a huge amount of weight off of a person. So I think progress is priceless. There's a huge difference between being stuck in your tracks and not doing it and writing it down, even if it's incorrect. I have seen food logs recently that had so many things in them that were not on the plan, and yet they've made progress. So the difference between tracking and not tracking is astronomical. So if you're stuck and you've been in a place where you just haven't been willing to write anything down, I would start with a Post-it note or just maybe a scratch pad on the side of your desk if you're just not in a place where you can do a food log yet. But this is a neat example of, her days and actually writing it down. And I do believe in tracking and weighing in and putting that weight right in the food log. I think, if you're a person who doesn't get on the scale, you can take a waist measurement, but truly the scale is not your enemy. It's not good or bad. And at some point, if you're going to lose weight, the scale does need to go down. And again, another food log here. Weights are dropping, food logs. And it's always the food log. The neat thing about this food log is there's an organizational chart. This little chart at the top is something that I started, probably 15 years ago. And we would put this little chart together so that when life is happening and we're trying to juggle so many balls, you say, "Oh gosh, did I drink my water today?" Major problem if you're not drinking your water. The body is just not going to burn if you're not drinking an adequate amount of water. So are you drinking your water? Are you getting your workouts done? It's a little tracking system to add up the points. 10 points if you did it, 0 if you didn't, and of course we've got 100 points. And when you're consistently going between 80 to 100 points, we see massive progress. So, this truly is the inside story on how progress and change happens. This is a neat photo. So Carly has a gym that she goes to, and this little stack of names on the side here, she's number 1. She had the most visits at this challenge at the gym. And again, she showed up and got the workouts done, obviously, more so than anyone else at the gym. So again, not average. She put in more time on task, showed up more times than anybody else. And there's something about winning that I think feels really good when you're making progress and, the scale's going down, you're getting the high fives, the energy is up, everything is energy. And, there's something about the positive flow of just doing it and being in that element of, gosh, it's actually working. Another cardio session. This is an interesting topic for me. So this is a cardio session that says she burned 707 calories. And to me, this is a funny thing because, we talk about burning calories and, people track on their Fitbit how many steps they had, how many calories they burned. We track on a machine how many calories burned. And you don't actually so much burn calories as you eat calories. We're trying to burn fat. We're trying to burn body fat out of the cells. And when you do an intense cardio session like this, body fat leaves your body as air and water. So that's an interesting concept. And I also want you to think about calories. Every calorie is created different. There's a big difference in a calorie in a candy bar and a grilled chicken salad. totally different effect on the body. So which calories are we burning here on the treadmill? I think the calories at the Mexican restaurant, the margarita chips and cheese, like we can't burn those calories on the treadmill. That's all glycemic index stuff, which we're going to get into in just a little bit. So yes, I love that this is showing that, a massive amount of work was done on this cardio session, but I also want you to open your mind and ask questions and really think about the processes. And, I think, we've gotten into this rut in our society that says, oh, go to the gym and work hard. And the big question for me as a personal trainer is, are you getting what you're spending your time and money on? Are you getting the results from the workout paired with the nutrition, paired with the mindset? Because quite honestly, most people are focusing on the wrong things. They're focusing so hard on the workout that they're missing the mindset and the nutrition. Or sometimes they're focusing so hard on nutrition that they're not getting adequate exercise and they're not actually working hard enough to evoke a physiological change. So when you're getting stronger, your body has the capability to burn more body fat and step into that fat burning process, and it has to learn how to do that. So if you've gone weeks or months without exercising, I always say, gosh, just start where you are. Start with 10 minutes. Anybody can do anything for 10 minutes. And that's just a good rule of thumb. If you can start with 10 minutes and get that down. The other thing that I always tell people is schedule your exercise. We can have great intentions, but if it doesn't happen, it just doesn't happen. So get out your calendar, schedule your exercise. I would put that down as one of your anchors. Schedule the exercise and get the job done. And then you've got to work a little bit harder and do it a little bit different over time in order to evoke that physiological response. And again, if you have questions about any of this, go ahead and type them in the Q&A box and we'll address them later on. Again, another cardio workout here. She's gone 4 miles. She's increased her pace over time. So just a demonstration of some means to track. And I think you can track through lots of different ways. I think the Fitbit is fantastic. I think logging is fantastic. But the more things get tracked and managed, the better they get handled. To me, it's like tending a garden. If you pay attention to it and you water it and you feed it the right foods, it'll grow beautifully. If you let it go, it gets weeds. Oh, cool picture. So within this year, Carly did her first triathlon. So a happy, happy day. I think she mentioned in the video that her dad said, gosh, you couldn't have done this a year ago. So progress is priceless. I love this photo. Oh, I love this photo as well. So this was a kind of a special day for me when Carly, she went through a couple of sets of clothing. Obviously, with losing 100 pounds, I think Carly's around 5'4", so she's petite, and she was thinking she needed a size 12 or a 14. Went into the dressing room, and oh my gosh, the 10s are what fit. So. I know going, excuse me, for getting into a smaller size is very motivating for a lot of us. Sometimes it's not about weight. It's just about getting more energy, getting into a smaller size, or getting back into some of those beautiful clothes that are in your closet and really feeling good. I think overall feeling good is what we're all after, but this is a special picture. This was a really big celebration for her. And another progress picture. So again, on the weight loss journey, looking happy, going out with friends. And again, the before and after is absolutely astonishing. I love this photo. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about visual cues that motivate you. So this was a weight goal cue for Carly that she put on her phone. And I love visuals. I'm an extremely visual person myself. So I'll put up signs or Post-it notes or put a screensaver on my phone of something that I would love to materialize or something that I'm working towards. So I think visual cues, if you're a visual person, are very, very important. And again, another anchor as you're making progress towards your goals. I believe in writing things down. In Simple Fat Burn, 3 Steps to Becoming Fit and Lean, the book that's on Amazon, page 102. my favorite page is scripting. And to me, this visual cue is a form of scripting. It's putting it out there before it happens. So on page 102, if you're writing out your I am statements, I am fit, I am lean, I am making progress. This would be I am 165. Fantastic. I am a size 10. So whatever you're creating, get your head into that space that says, I am so powerful. And then I would share that information with the right people, not the people who may say, are you kidding me? I don't think you can get there. Or the people who could even possibly not be on your team and be supportive. If you're going to share your goals, you want to share them with people who believe in you and support you all the way. So we're going to, I know some of you are taking notes. We're going to do a quick little exercise here. On your paper, I want you to get a space and write down one goal that would make you feel good. It might be a simple goal, such as lose the first 5 pounds. It might be a size. It might be a weight. It might be feeling good at a special event that's coming up and fitting into that outfit. But I'm going to give you just a little bit of quiet time here to write down one thing that you can start to build your I am around. Okay, moving on here. I love this photo. This was kind of an ultimate goal for Carly. I saw a little joke recently that said, you know, people want to be a beast until they see what real beasts do. So she has this lion, and for her, one of her ultimate weight goals is 155. And she also, for her weightlifting goals, had some other numbers in front of lions that she had posted up around. So obviously those visual goals, but again, just a fun, neat thing to put up and around. And I think you've got to build the fun into this. You've got to do workouts with people or doing things that actually truly engage you. If you're hating it, if you're bored, you are never going to stick with it. That's why I always go back to other people being your connection and your community. You've got to make it fun. You've got to get things that just, energize you around this whole process. Otherwise, it becomes nothing but pure torture. So if it's not working, just pull out, revisit what is going to work, and reposition yourself to get into a mode of things that are going to truly engage you. I love this picture. This was just a couple of weeks ago. Carly and I were at the Spirit of Women conference, and she was celebrating her 30th birthday. So much fun. We had a great time at the conference. And, truly, I think just the demonstration of feeling good, meeting other people, paying it forward. Carly is actually doing some nutritional coaching and counseling with other people. And the best part is when I get that message from Carly going, oh gosh, my client lost 20 pounds and is making progress. There is nothing better than that feeling of helping other people. So I definitely think for you on this webinar, there is an element of helping other people that will evolve and reveal itself within your process as you're becoming successful. You'll have some working knowledge that you can pass on to someone when the time is right. Years ago, someone said to me, it's like, passing on knowledge that's appropriate at the right time. It's like feeling around for a light switch in the dark. You just sort of know when you're supposed to share with someone. So Carly is definitely paying it forward, inspiring us. So many women at the Spirit of Women conference were inspired by her. There were connections and conversations that were just a whole bunch of fun and neat things came out of that. So exciting times. And again, the before and after, just an astronomical amount of weight in 8 months and 3 days. And I know you've seen this photo on the Facebook posts and so forth about this webinar, but this is truly, anyone can do this. If you can put in the time on task and learn the systems, Anyone can lose weight. They can balance their blood sugar. I truly believe no one has to suffer because I have seen kids do this. I've seen seniors do this, and it is just a process. Fantastic job. Okay, getting into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of what happens with simple fat burn. This is my version of the glycemic index. In the red zone, these are the things that hold us up, all the foods that we love. And we love them because they're processed and they're carbohydrates. I've yet to hear anyone come and say, I love green beans. I just can't stop eating them. Never has that happened in 21 years of working with clients. But the higher carbohydrate foods, what I want to say is don't think that you can never, ever have them, because I know in my own personal weight loss journey and in Carly's journey, there were free days, there were celebrations, there were times where you take that little bit of time off the plan and you're in maintenance mode. Or maybe you go up a couple pounds and you pull back, and it's just one of those weeks for a number of reasons. Maybe there's big stuff going on at work. Maybe there's emotional stuff going on. Maybe you've had what we might refer to as a bolt from the blue. Something happened that you didn't see coming. Some kind of a trauma, some kind of an accident, some kind of a mishap with one of your loved ones or one of your pets. And when those things happen, I just say, be kind to yourself, give yourself space, and then pay attention to the glycemic index as you get back into the mode of taking care of yourself. So in the red zone, bread, potatoes, alcohol, rice, cookies, cake, crackers, candy. In the orange zone, which may as well be the red zone in terms of fat burning, we have fruit. Fruit is fructose. It is sugar. Yes, there is some fruit in the simple fat burn plan. It's low glycemic fruit in a very small amount paired with greens, with protein. And now I will say this glycemic index does work for vegans. It works for vegetarians, and it works for people who consume animal products. I have coached and counseled all of the above for extreme success. So don't think that your category is going to hold you back, because it truly is glycemic index and controlling the blood sugar levels. That is what simple fat burn is all about. Learning it, practicing it, and making it happen to get results. The cravings. This is always the big one. Craving sugar, craving pasta, craving rice. So there are some strategies for handling cravings. Number one, I think you've got to have communication with the people around you. We really teach people how to treat us. So if it's Mexican night out with the girls, that has to change. No more margaritas, chips, and cheese if you're going to be successful. If it's really desserts in the office with every single birthday that are one of the problems, and this is everywhere, folks. I want you to understand that if you stop in the QT, the sugar is staring you in the face. It is a problem. Maybe you need to consider not eating from QT. I know. So you have to stop buying it. That's a biggie. If you don't stop buying it, you are never going to have control. I know for me, for years, it was the ice cream in the freezer. I'd say, oh gosh, I'm not consuming that much sugar. Well, the pint of Haagen-Dazs disappeared again. But I'm thinking, I'm playing a game with myself. I'm not consuming that much sugar. So you have to, if there are other people in your house that are not on the plan, I think you've got to communicate with them, and then you've got to label it or designate their food for them, your food for you. And you have to be very kind to others and handle this as carefully as possible. But get it out of the house, set your parameters, figure out how much free space you have with a free meal once a week, or possibly it's holidays. I know for Carly, she just went all in 2 feet. 2 feet in. I actually had to convince her to take a cheat meal at one point. And Chuck was the same way. He really went straight into 100% clean eating for weeks, if not, several weeks at a time, without having everything off the plan. And your strategy for cravings truly will go back to keeping that food log. Very, very important to keep the food log. So that, the problem is that people don't log and they don't track, and then they wonder why they're not making progress. If you can see what's working and it's written down, what will happen is you repeat those days. You get a couple pounds off, it works. You just go back to the log and look at what is truly working. It's actually pretty simple once you get in the swing of it. And truly, this is the cool thing about simple fat burn. The numbers never lie. We're actually balancing your blood sugar for fat loss with, for the average sized person, 20 to 30 grams of protein. It might be less, it might be 15 grams for a smaller size female. Healthy fat, you'll see as we get into the food list, healthy fats, 5 to 8 or 10 grams, and fiber every meal, fiber from green vegetables, and possibly adding fiber supplements. Not everyone can take them. I don't sell any bars, shakes, or supplements. I have a few products that I really respect and love, but Simple Fat Burn is truly about education. And net carbs, the most important thing that I need you to take away from this is carbohydrate control and carbohydrate intake. Shopping list, you will get this in the email that'll go out after the webinar. So don't worry about writing all this down as you're taking notes, but really learn and discern what protein is, what the low glycemic carbohydrates are, what the healthy fats are, and avocado is going to be added into that list. It's not in here now. And spices, you can use any and all spices. You've got to use spices to keep it interesting, make it fun, keep you from getting bored so you don't fall back off into processed carbo land. 7 steps for success. This is my signature system for simple fat burn. And today we're really talking about the process of what works and really getting people to opt in to making the change, to getting off processed foods and tracking. So you actually have to opt in and commit and say, I'm doing it. That goal that I wrote down, I'm going to make it happen. Step 2, you've got to get educated. A lot of times we think we know what we're doing, and we truly have not a clue what's not working in the plan and what is working in the plan. So, excuse me, education is the key to simple fat burn. And step 3, clearly define your targets and goals. So once you've defined your targets and goals, then you can totally get on board and make it happen. Step 4, we talked a little bit about tracking, writing things down. And step 5, accountability, making little changes to get progress. That's where you would be working with your trainer, your friend, your coach, your accountability partners, your family members, and truly building your team for success. Step 6, making progress real, seeing the numbers drop on the scale. The other thing that you can do is take a waist measurement. That will always tell you a true body fat percentage as you're dropping those inches in your belt size, in your pant size, and just that true waist measurement around the belly button. Step 7, this is huge, track all wins. Everything that goes right, every little thing you have to give kudos to and give attention to, and you want to write it down. And what I don't have in here, the overall thing that happens after you get through these 7 steps for success is you really celebrate by helping others, by sharing information when appropriate. Several people have learned simple fat burn and passed it on to others. And then I hear from these fabulous people that say, gosh, I lost 40 pounds because my friend taught me the process. And that really brings all of us a lot of joy, especially the people who are working through the process. So now that we've discussed some of the things about the plan, the concepts for long-term success are changing your mindset, creating a clear crystal vision, creating strength within your body and your habits, cardiovascular strength, doing cardio on a regular basis, the concept of progression, working a little bit harder and a little bit different over time, clearly defining your goals and targets, getting clarity for content on all of your meals, because simple fat burn truly is about what you eat, what you do, and what you think, setting new parameters. So we don't yo-yo diet, don't go back to the old things, drinking your water, and keeping your food log. And accountability, simply a series of corrections through coaching, support systems, communication, tracking, taking measurements, changing your behavior, celebrating all wins, and giving back. And I want to tell you a little bit about the 4-week Simple Fat Burn class. And in this class, we actually go into depth with all of the concepts of Simple Fat Burn. Obviously, in one webinar, I can't cover 21 years of expertise and all of the details. So in the 4-week class, this class will cover holidays. I know Carly started last November before the holidays, and guess what? The holidays are coming like a freight train. So probably the most perfect time I have said every year to start is just before the holidays. That's the time to start paying attention to your diet, getting things in order, and enjoying the holidays, having a strategy and a plan. We also will be sharing the downloads of the classes covering the holidays, the meals, recipes, all of the pitfalls that people get into, and all of the success strategies so that we give up yo-yo dieting for good. I also am offering a private Facebook group for people who are taking the class. And this is, again, another support community where people can share and support each other. And the 4-week class will start November 5th, and it'll be hosted on webinar, just like this one. And the price is $449, but for participating in the webinar, you'll get a savings of $200. So the 4-week class will be $249 because you've participated in the webinar. There will be a link in your email box. It's there already. So if you click over to that link, you'll find that is already in your email box, and the email is there for you to opt in, click on the link, and enter your credit card information to participate in the class if it's for you. So some of you will get some awesome information as a refresher. Some of you will continue to make progress. And some of you are new people who just aren't familiar with what to eat and how to do it. So I want to encourage you to just know that you can do it and take the class, take advantage of getting educated and making progress. And this is revisiting this picture of Carly. The biggest thing that I want for the people that are on this webinar is that Carly's first picture, it's a face picture because she wasn't comfortable showing up with her full body in the picture. Obviously, that changed in just 8 short months. So my hope is for everyone to go from being in pictures, from not wanting to be in pictures and just taking that face angle or that angle where you look really your personal best, to showing up and saying, oh gosh, let me get in the pictures with my friends and family. So just a neat transformation that happens over time. And again, transformation can and will happen with all of the correct information. I just get really excited about people opting in and doing it. And this is Chuck. This is Carly's dad. Once upon a time, over 400 pounds. Now Chuck, he actually is racing motorcycles again. And he started this. He started this for himself, and it carried on to Chuck sharing it with his daughter. And so I just found this really a neat photo that really speaks volumes. So we celebrate with him. We love to see these photos going on of his motorcycle races and trips. And it's just a really neat thing to see the success happen. Carly and Chuck together. I do want to say that Simple Fat Burn is meant for sharing. It's meant for sharing with other people. And gosh, I've just come to love these people and these clients over the years. So, I think if you learn some things here, I want to answer some questions now in the Q&A. So let's see, we do have a few questions in. If you've got other questions, go ahead and type them in. So, okay. Some people said, oh, thank you. So inspiring. And let's see. We've got some questions here about how much water should a person be drinking. And I usually say go with about half of your body weight. Half of your body weight will get you there if your target body weight. So if you're aiming for a target weight of 150 where you feel good and natural and fit and lean, then that's where you should aim for water. Other questions. How much time should you put in on your workouts? Oh, that's a great question. Well, that is actually going to depend on where you are with your program, with your level of fitness. Carly actually had been working out when she started. She does some powerlifting. She actually does some competitions. So she was used to lifting pretty heavy. Chuck started with zero workout for about a decade. So it was baby steps for him. We started with just some very, very basic exercises and about a 30-minute workout 3 times a week. So I think you've got to build that in over time. If you're up to speed and you can do a full plan, I really believe in doing something physical 5 or 6 days a week, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. I think that would kind of be the middle of the road for making some massive, massive progress. I have another question. If we sign up, how do you handle the physical training long distance? Great question. I actually write out some workout plans for people and give some examples of how they can handle their cardio and workouts and in their general exercises. So we do some challenges. I give some variation in exercises. So let's say, push-ups are in the plan, but you're not at a point where you can do push-ups yet. You might be doing incline push-ups on a wall. So, it's strength combined with cardio. And then I like to mix it up a little bit. If you're a person who loves to do yoga, put yoga in your plan for strength. If you're a person who loves to swim, put swimming in for your cardio. Carly just did her second triathlon today, and then she did a little more cardio. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of time on task. Most people are not going to be going at that rate, but we really build it out. And again, we have the Facebook page in which I'll be posting workouts that you can use, but it's quite flexible on the workout plans, and I can always answer questions on that long distance and post some different variations. The other neat thing is we have other people that would chime in and with what they did and share. Carly will be sharing her workout plans. I'll be sharing some variations on plans that I've done with clients. So I post those within the class. Another question, can accountability partners be from this webinar? Absolutely. Gerard is saying he doesn't have anybody here. Gerard, I will be your accountability partner and we will find you a second accountability partner. I know sometimes people feel rather isolated with their friends and family. Maybe no one they're dealing with is into fitness. So absolutely, we will find accountability partners within the Facebook group and within the webinars. And I also have some people who will volunteer from Facebook. So yes, we can find partners. And other questions? Yay, thanks. You're welcome, Gerard. Okay, so I just, in closing, I want to inspire all of you to know that you can do it. You can be successful. You can balance your blood sugar. You can stop binging on foods that are not serving you. You can overcome any addiction to any food. That I know for sure. I know that you can change your weight. I know that you can change your level of physical fitness. I know that you can change your health because I've seen hundreds of people do it. Not only that, you can learn to do this and you can share it with other people. So if you have friends or loved ones, I'm going to ask you to share this webinar with them. You will get the replay. I'm going to ask you to share what you've learned when appropriate. If people aren't asking, maybe they're not ready yet. Always put the yet on there for them. I think a lot of times we care so much about our loved ones, and this picture of Carly and Chuck really speaks volumes to me. I think, a parent who has gone through an astronomical weight loss and sees a child who's dealing with quite a bit of weight and, other loved ones, it's a really big issue. So if that's what's going on with people around you, they're struggling with health conditions related to weight, they're struggling with yo-yo dieting, they're frustrated, the thing that I'm going to tell you to do is to really hold space for them and to send love. And for all of you, please, please, please be kind to self and just take a little step to move in the right direction. And I want to thank you all for being on the webinar today. Have a great evening. Thank you. Love you guys.